Good morning, everyone. I'm Raphael Bloch, co-founder of The Big Whale. Today, I'm very pleased to host Jan Rogers, Chief Experience Officer at Ledger, in our Big Talks. Hi, Jan.
Hey there. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Relieved.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, Jan, you just announced a pretty big news. The Ledger Stax finally arrives. We are going to talk about it together, see what these products change for Ledger, of course, and also why you had those delays. But first question, so how do you feel? You say the relief?
Yeah, definitely relieved and just, happy that this is finally here. I mean, it's really been touch and go. And there have definitely been times when, for a long time now, we haven't known exactly when we would be able to ship. And really, depending on the day of the week, we haven't been sure if we would be able to get this product to mass market. Now, we've known for many months now that we would, and it's been about ramp. But it's great that that it's finally here, and then now this is actually just sort of a small moment for us because we have more announcements this summer, including Stax going back on sale.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And so, yeah, it's a huge milestone for you, but still, you need to work and you need to ship those tags. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the dates? Are there already, stacks in the hands of Ledger's users?
Yeah, so we started shipping to customers today. So we sent an email to customers, I believe a little over a month ago, telling them which batch they would be in. So we had a number of pre-order customers from the early days of the announcement, and we sent them an email a little over a month ago and told them which batch they're in. There are 3 batches. Those 3 batches will fulfill between now and the end of June. Okay. And that will take us into the summer, and then we'll build up some more inventory and we'll get everything back on sale. And we have some other surprises as well. And so, we're really rolling now, and it's, perfectly timed with the market. I mean, what a week in the market and DC and everything else too.
Okay, interesting. And it's worldwide delivery. I mean, it's not European focused delivery. It's for everyone.
Worldwide, including the customers who pre-ordered from Best Buy. We had customers in the US who pre-ordered from Best Buy, and they'll be receiving theirs as well.
Okay, interesting. But correct me if I'm wrong. We are not, already able to purchase, Stax on the website.
Correct. It is not back on sale yet. We want to get these pre-orders delivered and build up a bit of inventory. Also, this has been a very difficult product to make, as you know, and I'm sure we'll talk about, and we're releasing a video showing a lot about today. But also the cost of the screen for Ledger is higher than we originally anticipated. So when we do go back on sale, the price will be slightly higher than it is today. So those pre-order customers got a nice discount as well.
How much is it?
We haven't announced that yet. The pre-orders were done at $289.
Okay. But so maybe it will be another price.
It will be a price that's higher than the pre-order price when it finally comes. So the pre-order customers got a nice discount.
Okay. Interesting. How many pre-orders did you get?
We're not saying that either. It was a number. We actually turned off the pre-orders relatively early, because we were surprised by the number of pre-orders that we had so early. And I had a production schedule, but it wasn't certain. And we said, oh man, okay, we've really getting a lot of pre-orders, and we're not certain when exactly when we'll be able to deliver these. Let's turn those pre-orders off. So we turned off the pre-order just after just a few weeks.
Okay. And so before talking about the big challenge that the Stax represents, can you just tell us in a simple way why we should buy a Stax? What's the main advantage?
The main advantage of the Stax is a secure touchscreen, right? So if you look at so to be secure in crypto, you have to check 3 boxes. You know, one, your private key needs to be in a secure element, generated in a secure element, and stay there. And why stay there? That's the second thing. It needs to stay there when you do the operation. And then the user needs to be able to approve a transaction on a secure screen. So they need to look at a screen that they can trust and say whether or not they approve that transaction. So with Ledger Nano, we achieve that because there's a secure element in Ledger Nano. And that is directly powering both the little screen on the Nano as well as the little buttons on the Nano. So that's what makes the Nano secure. So then the question was, you know, can you do that? How do you do that in a better user experience? You know, can you do that in a touchscreen where you're directly powering the screen from that secure element? And the answer was yes, especially with an e-ink display. And e-ink actually, you know, makes that easier to do because there's fewer colors, it's easier to control, you know. So with, you know, a secure element is a secure chip. It's not a chip that's designed for performance and driving a display, right? So, so that's sort of why e-ink. The answer then, so then on Stax, you know, Tony Fadell took the design one step further and went with the world's first curved e-ink, which is you know the sort of the new development.
And just Jan, just e-ink, this is your partner, right, for the screen?
So e-ink is the technology provider, but they are not actually the supplier of the screen.
Okay.
So, you know, e-ink supplies e-ink technology. They are a supplier in the supply chain. You know, but this screen was made by a different set of suppliers. I can talk more about the technology. Maybe I'll just finish up on that secure point first, and then because there's a long and we made sort of a 20-minute video explaining the technological challenge. But I think it's important for crypto users to understand why a secure screen matters, right? Because the reality is if you don't have a secure screen, you can't be secure. You know, the reality is your phone screen can lie to you. So you know, the biggest innovation here is that it's the first secure touchscreen. So that means it's easy to use, it's big. You know, transactions are getting more complex. So there's more to see, more to approve. You know, you want to be able to clearly read what it is you're signing. And this also fits with the clear signing initiative that Ledger is working on, right? So you're not just blind signing and saying, YOLO, let me sign this blank check, but you're actually saying, I understand the transaction I'm about to sign. I can clearly read it. I'm reading it on a secure screen and I click OK. So Stax is the world's first secure touchscreen.
Okay, interesting. And so this is the technology, and you had a lot of troubles with your suppliers. I mean, why it took so long between the announcement? I remember I was there in Paris in December 2022, and the Stax is only available now. So yeah, 18 months after. So just why?
We made a video that we released today that you know, we really wanted to answer this question like completely. And also I think it's important that people hear the answer from more than just me. They hear it from people like the actual suppliers. So we have Chuck Milligan from Flex Enable, and he tells a great story that this technology is, you know, basically 30 years old. It spun out of Cambridge 30 years ago. And by this technology, I mean organic TFTs, which means that instead of silicon on glass, you have organic materials on plastic. And this has been a known technology for a long time. Like I said, 30 years. They started a company, and Chuck told me this story. They started a company to try to make an e-reader out of this technology 15 years ago. That company didn't get off the ground because Kindle was so successful and iPad was so successful. So it wasn't really a technological challenge. It was more of a market challenge for the product. And Tony Fadell was aware of this technology, and he tells the story very well in the video. He wanted to create a device that denoted value. So it was the size of a credit card. And it also sort of denoted the future of a stack of cash, you know, like that picture of a stack of cash with the band around it. So that's why you've got stacks, and they stack up and they magnet together. And so, you know, that was sort of the industrial design component of this, and the decision then to use this you know, organic TFT. And the simple answer is the suppliers said, yes, we can do this. And by do this, we mean provide, you know, a screen that meets these specifications and curves at this specification. It's a 2 millimeter radius. maybe it's a 3 millimeter radius on the curve. And that's never been done before, but the supplier said, yes, we can absolutely do that. We prototyped it. You saw at Ledger Open, we had them in our hands. We were using them. We were testing them. We built the OS. And so it was really only about ramping production. And again, they had ramped this production at a fab in Dresden, back 9+ years ago. And so, they just needed to stand this process up in Taiwan. They were in the process of doing that. But the reality is that getting a good yield out of that process in Taiwan took them much longer than they thought it would. They were making us promises of how quickly that yield would ramp that simply didn't come true. So it was a surprise to us. It was a surprise to them, frankly. They wanted to, they certainly wanted to sell us the screens. But the process of actually ramping that. And when I say yield, what I mean is they're putting what they call mother glass into this process. And the question is, if you put 100 mother glass into the front end of this process, or 100, mother glass worth of screens, just to use a round number, how many come out the other side? And that number was very, very, very small enough to make it possible, but not economically viable, right? So what they've had to do is to get the percentage of success high enough that making these screens is economically viable for everyone in the chain. And that's also why I say we've done that, but the screen is at a higher price to Ledger than we had originally agreed to, which is also why the price will be slightly higher.
Yeah. So
if you parse apart what I said, is like really the entire story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details, but that's the whole story.
Okay, interesting. So I have many questions. So the first one is that, okay, I fully understand the fact that when you want to pioneer on something, of course, you can't know that everything will be fine, but still, isn't it your responsibility just to maybe to be sure that all the suppliers will be able, to ship what they promise they will ship? For example, the screen, the tech.
I would say yes. There's definitely a degree of risk in hindsight's 2020, right? So what's easy to sit here and say today is that when we announced, there was a degree of risk that was higher than we knew.
Yeah.
Right. So you're always making every time you step out your front door, you're making decisions based on risk. Right. That's life. And in this project, as an example, there's always a risk in a project like this that, you think you have a ramp time, but there's a fire in the factory, or you think you have a ramp time and someone at the factory cleans the equipment with the wrong chemical and it ruins an entire batch of glass, or that there is an earthquake in Taiwan, right? And I use those specific examples because all three of those things have happened to us over the past year and more. But you accept those risks because the risks are low enough, that they're reasonable, right? Every time Apple makes a new phone, they accept the risk that China and Taiwan are going to, something's going to, heat up over there, but that doesn't keep them from announcing their new product, right? So I think, but there's no question that there was more risk in this than we thought based on what our suppliers were telling us.
Okay. And so now everything is, fixed with the suppliers, and you are able to ship as many stacks as you want.
Yeah, yes. And look, there's no supply that's infinite on any product, as we've seen, like with, delays on, PlayStations and iPhones and everything else. And I would certainly, I come from LVMH, right? So I'd certainly love to have more demand for the product than we have supply, but we have, we believe we have enough supply for 2024. And I would love to be wrong about that, because it would be a great day for Ledger if that was true.
Yeah. I imagine. And so you have a very nice screen. Unfortunately, I don't have, already my own Stax, but I hope in the coming weeks. So you have a screen. It was a big.
Hang on one second, Raf. I'm gonna grab a couple Stacks. I'm gonna grab a box too. It's good to have.
Okay, cool.
Have in my
hand. Actually, I'm in Berlin, so it's quite hard to to receive my Stax.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
So here then.
So this one is for me?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So just for the visual. So I have a couple of a couple of stacks here. So wow, the mirror effect is really
here. No, yeah, we can see it clearly. Okay, interesting.
Cool. And then you've got the magnets. Really, I mean, they're very satisfying.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. And then, you can put, I mean, how many stacks you can put together? I mean,
as many as you want. I mean, I assume at some point, the whole stack will tip over, but I've never got that high. But also the magnets give you a very nice, like, so here's a case. This is actually a leather one that we have not started. We're not making available for sale yet. We're just sort of playing around to see with new materials. But because with the magnets you get like super satisfying, and then look, you can you can put as many of you want. These are the cases that will be for sale. Very nice material with the magnets. You even put them together with few cases, and they hold together. So it's really, I mean, Tony has done a super fantastic job. With this product and the industrial design.
Okay. And so yeah, what's the strategy with Stax? So you want to sell the Stax to new customers? You want to attract new customers, or you want also to convince your fan base? What's your vision on this?
Well, that's a great question. I think that there's sort of a short term and a long term, right? Look, our belief at a very high level at Ledger just continues to be that we believe in digital ownership and digital freedom, right? That's why, fundamentally what you have with Ledger is the first development environment on a secure element on the planet, right? So one of the things you can do with that, of course, is buy and hold Bitcoin. All right, that's the original premise of Ledger, but you can do so much more than that, right? Whether it's every other crypto and blockchain, into the world of DeFi, into the world of digital ownership and digital art, but also, we have an application that we're launching on Stax called Security Key, and Security Key implements passkeys and FIDO2. So you can use it as your 2FA. You can use it as your passkey. So you can do, passwordless login securely, right? Instead of doing it insecurely with your phone and Face ID, you can do it securely with a secure element. So we really think that this is, we're entering a world where AI brings digital abundance. You'll have more and more digital value in your digital life, and therefore, security, ownership not only of your crypto, but ownership of your preferences on the internet. Provenance, proving that you are who you say you are, proving that this is a video of me. And not that it came from my camera and it's not a deep fake. In the future, these things are much more important. So for us, we see, just like, the iPod was not the first MP3 player, but it was the MP3 player that popularized this idea of having digital assets. I think that Stax is that device where people say, I do care about digital assets. Look at what's going on in America and Washington D.C. this week. More and more people are saying, hey, we do care about crypto. Actually, we do, and I don't think it's just we care about crypto. I think it's like we do care about digital value in our digital lives, and I don't think most people are so sophisticated that that's exactly what they're saying, but I think that they do somehow recognize that crypto gives them ownership in a way that Web 2 has not, and I think that is increasing, and that's a revolution, and that needs new hardware. It doesn't need new hardware simply because it's a new form factor. It needs new hardware because if you have ownership, then you must have both security and self-custody. So the question is, how do you deliver that in a way that's easy to use? And I think that is the question that Stax starts to answer. So, another way to put it is, I would say that Stax is really just the first secure touchscreen I think if you fast forward 20 years, the idea that there was a first secure touchscreen is like, what? You know,
Yeah.
of course, everyone needs a secure touchscreen. Like, how do you have security if you don't have a secure touchscreen, right? But this is that moment when the first secure touchscreen was introduced.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. And so you mentioned, yeah, the iPad, iPhone. I mean, yeah, Apple did a lot to improve the way that we consume, I mean, internet, basically. Do you think that with the Stax, you'll do something, yeah, something parallel that what Apple did with internet and the social media economy? Do you think that in the Web3 space you'll be able to do something huge with the Stacks?
You know, I don't think that's far-fetched. I think that's you know, that's certainly our goal, and I think it could be the case, and I'll tell you why. You know, if you look, Ledger's 10 years old, Bitcoin's 15 years old, right? And if you look at every cycle, you know, the same thing happens, right? You get sort of more excitement about, you know, distributed digital ownership, and new people come along and say, we're going to onboard the masses. And as they do, they compromise on either security or self-custody or both, right? And so look at where we are. We've got, you know, depending on how you count, 100 million to 500 million people in the world of crypto, you know, relatively few people in the world of secure self-custody, right? You're talking about tens of millions of people in the world of self-custody. And you know, probably on the order of 10 million people in the realm of secure self-custody. And then if we started to dig a little deeper and say, how many of those people have good operational security, you start to get, you know, into a pretty small place. And this is, you know, this is, you know, even in a world where, you know, roughly 20% of all digital value is protected by Ledger.
Yep.
You know, that's because, you know, people who are very educated and very sophisticated use Ledger because they understand that security and self-custody are important. So for me, like as a crypto community, the thing that's important is that more people come to digital ownership, because I think that amounts to digital freedom and in many ways financial freedom. But when they do so, they're going to need both security and self-custody. So this is the context I put it in, is that, you know, that is why, you know, moving to, you know, introducing products and software together, right? So it's not just the Ledger, but it's Ledger plus Ledger Live, plus the ability to access, you know, high quality services easily and securely. You know, that gets us to that next place. And let me just say one more thing about that, though, because I think the next step about that is adding security to your digital life generally, right? So look, think about where we're going with the world of passkeys. All right, passkeys is passwordless login, and who wants to own that? Apple, Google, maybe 1Password, right? That means everybody kind of goes into one place, and you just come up with a new centralized place to kind of own your logins and your preferences and your data. And how does the web work? I go around and I log into thousands of websites, and all of my preferences are owned there. We envision a world where you, the user, hold your value, your you know, your digital objects, and that could be Bitcoin or preferences, and you know, you are the steward and you're the one who federates the rights to things like your identity, your preferences, and I don't care if that's your gym membership or your airline mileage points or your passport.
Okay, interesting. And so to be clear, everything that we have on the Nano will be available on Stax, right?
Yep. One great thing about this delay, and I is that we've had, you know, we're at version 1.4 of the operating system. You know, we've been steadily developing all the time, and also remember there are, you know, a couple hundred applications available for Ledger Nano, and those don't all get ported day one, right? So we've had time for, you know, 99% of those, you know, to be ported over to Ledger Stax as well. So yes, you know, we've been using this device for more than a year, you know, so we
okay. And as a chief experience officer, you think that the experience is perfect, almost perfect?
Oh, there's no such thing as a perfect experience. So no, we're improving the experience every single day.
Okay.
But the experience is truly great.
Okay.
Can't wait. I'm really looking forward to people trying it out. And I can't wait to start seeing on Twitter what people are putting on the face of their stacks.
Yeah, and in a perfect world, what would you like to improve today, for example, during the first delivery of the stacks, in terms of experience,
That's a great question, because and we have a couple of really nice big things coming this year. One of them, and we've been talking a lot about, which is the clear signing initiative. So what I really want to be doing is I want to be interacting with dApps in Web3 and clear signing on my stacks. So that's an ecosystem issue, but we're addressing it. And we've done some. We had a request for comment that we did last week to talk about that. And the other is I really want to improve the device interaction. So the team is really working hard, and that's working. So we have a new device SDK coming, which will improve that device interaction, both with Ledger Live, with third-party wallets, with web wallets. So that interaction will become much cleaner this year, which I think we're really looking forward to, and that'll be a big improvement for people. So I mean, it's very nuts and bolts, but super important, because it's about like the things that you're doing with your stacks every day. And then I think the third thing is things like passkey. There's so much exciting stuff going on with passkey, where you're able to build on top of the FIDO2 standard and securely do more on the internet. So imagine think about it. I don't know about you, but I log into my password manager 10 times a day. And it really shows me how dependent I am on, giving my credentials over to somebody else on the web all day long. I'm really looking forward to simply putting in my PIN code on Ledger Stacks, tapping using NFC on my phone, and I'm logged in. And I didn't have to use anything on my insecure device. I'm relying on my secure device, for my security on the internet.
Okay, interesting. And so you made the Nano, then the Stax. Is it everything? Before maybe a smartphone designed by Ledger, something like this, or no?
The answer is no.
Okay, interesting.
I can't say anymore. Let's just say that Stax has been delayed for a year, but we haven't been only focused on Stax for the past year. We had a roadmap and we stuck to it.
Okay, interesting. And so what are the next steps?
So stay tuned.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, thank you very much, Jan. I have just a last question. It has been the last 18 months were very tough for everyone in this space because of course the bear market, a lot of things. How you see Ledger in the space in 2024, and what's your vision of the competition for Ledger in the coming years, especially with the Stax and
I think that this is a great year for crypto generally. I mean, we've the last since FTX, we all as a community went through, I think, a very tough time. People get down in tough times. For us, not delivering stacks was I'll tell you the truth. We were in Taiwan 3 weeks ago, and we were with the CEO of one of our suppliers, and I asked his team to put on the board the yield chart over the last 12 months of the yield of these screens, right? Yeah. And I looked at the CEO of the company. I said, "This is a chart of my emotional health over the last year." Right. So that's that's kind of where we've been living. Which is also why we're at the other end of that now, because now we're releasing this product. We have more to come. The market looks great. The SEC just did a 180 on an Ethereum ETF.
Your screen.
there really seems to, crypto is an issue in the November election in a way that's quite positive that it wasn't before. We've got consensus coming up. We have Bitcoin Nashville coming up. We have, so for us, we're just, incredibly excited by what's to come. I think we're through that bear. We're fully into the bull. We have the products ready for the bull. You could argue that, now is a much better time, for this to be coming to market than March of 23 anyway. And so, we're really focused on the future. We're focused on clear signing. We're focused on our services business, which is on fire, and we're just looking forward.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, Jan. See you again in Paris. I'm in Berlin for the moment, and yeah, thank you very much for your time, and hope that users will do a lot of feedbacks about Stax.
Awesome. I want to see people's Stax. I want to see what you put on yours.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. Bye.
Bye.